Talk to Me is a movie about a bunch of idiotic kids at a party that willfully agree to be possessed by spirits of the netherworld by grabbing a creepy embalmed hand and saying, "Talk to me." How am I supposed to root for anybody in this movie if they're too idiotic to realize that letting spirits take over their body is a stupid idea? I want to see a smarter movie with smarter characters. So I suggest we call it Shut the F Up. The Last Voyage of the Demeter is another movie based off of the original Dracula novel. But this time it covers only one part of the story where he feeds on a bunch of pirates on a ship traveling across the Mediterranean Sea. We all know who Dracula is, what he does, and that he's a bad dude you wouldn't want to take a boat ride with. So let's change the name of the movie to This Guy Sucks. Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. This zombie franchise uses time of day to name all of the different movies in the series. So obviously if they make more entries, some good ideas could be Afternoon of the Dead, Lunch Hour of the Dead, Nap Time of the Dead. I had to do this one because these particular title ideas were eating my brain. Werewolf by Night is a redundant title. There are no full moons in the daytime. For a 53-minute movie, you don't really see the werewolf a lot, only a little bit at the end. So I think a better title for this movie would be Werewolf. There it is. I'm not a religious man, so when I first heard about The Nun, I had no interest in seeing it. I think this film would have reached a bigger audience if it was a tie-in to a pre-existing, proven franchise that broke free of the religious film label. So I think a more strategic title for this movie could be Sister Act 3. Let's face it, most of America has a 5th grade education. So when you use complex words like insidious in the title of your movie, you might lose most of your audience. And not everybody is carrying around a dictionary to look up what these fancy words mean. So I think we could find a more felicitous title that would allow for more perspicaciousness among the general populace and give them a more comprehensive idea of what the film was about, instead of creating a mental conundrum that would lead to mass confusion and nefarious feelings about your film. So how about we call it Sneaky Ghosts? Critters came out in the mid-80s when everyone was trying to capitalize on the whole gremlin genre, where small creatures cause mischief and mayhem in a small town. Critters was a minor hit, but since I think it shamelessly stole the small creature premise from Gremlins, might as well go all the way. So I think a more strategic title for this film could have been Gremlins. The Five Nights at Freddy's franchise is about a pizza parlor arcade that has creepy animatronic robots that come to life in the middle of the night and murder security guards that are watching the premises. Sounds pretty scary, but have you actually been to one of these places during business hours? So I think a more terrifying title for this franchise would have been Chuck E. Cheese at full capacity in the daytime. How can you make Evil Dead Rise without Bruce Campbell making at least one appearance as Ash Williams? Now that he's retired from this role, I'm not really interested in future installments of this franchise. This new one tried to be scary, but ultimately I found it yawn-inducing. So I would have to rename this one Evil Dead, Go Back to Sleep. I saw Hereditary once a few years ago, and I will never see it again. I still think about certain scenes when I'm trying to go to sleep every night. So taking inspiration from Emery Leeson and his team, I think a better title for this movie would be
This movie won't just scare you, it will f you up for life.